Well, today I'm here with my best friend, my Mimi, and I just wanted to have her on here so that y'all can see why I love her so much and why I have modeled my business after her. Um, and so, yeah, that's why she's here. But, anyways, Mimi, to start off, how old are you?
I am going on 82.
Two.
I have to stop and think.
82 years old.
82.
Yeah. How long have you been doing real estate?
That's kind of a guesstimate, but somewhere probably between 30 and
40
40
years.
years.
Once you hit like 20, you just lost track or what?
I just decided to skip it again.
No, too many years to even remember.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you remember before you became a realtor, why you decided to become a realtor? I mean, how old were the kids then? How old were your kids? Do you remember?
When I became a realtor,
So you were probably what, 40?
maybe or a little less. I was doing um, uh, teaching at school when the teachers were absent and all that. And then I just got tired of that and appreciate all the work they do with those kids.
Amen.
But I just thought, I'm going to do real estate. And I had a good friend that did real estate, and I trained under a lot of people probably remember Farrah and Associates Real Estate was here for a long time. And I trained there. And so probably somewhere around 40 years.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep.
Okay, so Papa, though, he got his real estate license before you. And then did he start the brokerage before you got your real estate license, or did you have your real estate license, then y'all started the brokerage?
No, he wasn't doing a whole lot. He and his twin brother got theirs, and they went to, best I remember, did some studying at South Plains College for it, and he said, Gwen, you need to do this too. And I was like, my kids were little, and I was thinking, this has taken a lot of my time up. So I just decided to go ahead and go forward, and we put in our own company and been doing that ever since.
You never would have guessed you would have had such an amazing career.
That's right.
How cool is that?
It's an amazing career.
Amazing career. So you went to SBC to get yours, right?
I went to SPC for a part of it, yeah. And then I went on to Lubbock and got some at the real estate offices there.
Okay.
Got some of my more extra hours.
Yeah.
So that I could go ahead and get my brokers and get everything.
Yeah. I remember when you got your broker's license because I remember you studying and studying and studying. I would come in and see you or whatever, and you'd be at one of these desks studying for your broker's license, and it was kind of stressful. Was it a hard test when you took it? Because you took it. I just took it this past April or March. I think March. And you took it how many years ago? 20?
At least.
20, maybe more? Yeah.
Yeah, it was a hard, and like you said, I did part of it at South Plains College and then went on to Lubbock to get my brokers because I was like, if I'm gone this far, I'm going to go ahead and
get it.
Bite the bullet and take some more classes, and I did that.
Yeah. What did you love about real estate?
Making people happy when they find a home of their own and they've been renting and paying rent to somebody else for a long time. It was a pleasure to deal with that.
I love that.
Yeah.
What do you miss about it?
I miss being around people. I still enjoy being around people and hearing some of their stories that are funny and some that are sad that, you have a transaction going and you think that you're going to close in a week, and all of a sudden those people went out. I had some people one time was fixing to close, and they lived in like Arizona or something, And they went out and bought a whole house full of brand new furniture.
Oh, no.
And we were supposed to be closing like in
That's
a week.
a nightmare.
And that was dead.
Yes.
Yep, it was dead.
Oh,
And I hated that.
for them.
They
They're
lost
probably
all
so
of it.
sad.
Yeah, they were
And
so
then they had
sad.
a ton of furniture and no
Yeah,
house to move
yeah.
into.
Yeah. And I always tell people, you've got a deal when you got your money in your hand and not a day before.
Mm-hmm.
And
Or a minute.
Or a minute. That's right.
I've learned so many things from you, and that's one of them. Because I remember, early on, I started saying that to my clients. And then I would say, now don't go finance anything. Don't buy furniture till you have paid for the home, that they have taken the money out of your account because of that story, the horror stories that you told me, and I just didn't want to see them lose their home. So that and many more have I learned from you, but everything I know, really.
Thank you.
Let's see.
She and her one of my other granddaughters loved to play realtor. They had me take all the stuff out of one of my clothes closets and make them that office. And so it remains. It's an extra office in there, but it's not an office. It's a storage office mostly, but they loved it. So,
yeah, that's actually what I was just about to tell
right?
you. That was my next thing is, do you remember when me and Jenna would sit under your feet?
Yeah.
And then we would walk through the house and pretend like we were showing clients, and we'd say, here's the living room, and here's, and we'd draw a picture of a house, and it was 100 square feet for $500,000, you know, because we didn't know the value of money then and all that. So did you ever think I would become a realtor from that?
Not really, because when you went off to college and got different ideas and stuff, I didn't much think you'd turn into be a realtor, but you did, and a great one.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I've always wanted to be just like you, so I had to follow the career path too.
Thank you.
Let's see. I was going to say, do you know how many people still call and say, I want to work with Gwen because you helped them like 20 years ago and you made a lasting impression on them? I think it's pretty, says a lot about who you are and who you are as a person and as a realtor, that somebody would remember you 20 years ago. And with as many realtors as we have in this business now, I mean, there's tons of realtors in this business, and they still think of Gwen Jackson and that they want to use you. And always the feedback I get is, she cared and she took care of us. And then the next question is, can you do the same for me? It's a hard, big shoes to fill, but I try. I've learned everything from you, and the thing that you love about real estate is the same thing I love about real estate: helping people and seeing the smiles on their faces. And really, we've done things to help people get into their home and to take care of them when something wasn't going to work out. So, because we care, and I learned that from you.
Thank you.
So I was saying the other day that as Jackson Real Estate Company goes forward, the main thing that I want to take is how you ran your business, and that's loving people and taking care of people. And then adding a spin on that is adding new marketing ideas in, because the world has gone to all online. And so we're having to add some new ideas of marketing. But as far as the core of our business in Jackson Real Estate Company is what you started 30, 40 years ago. And that's loving people, like putting our people and our clients first. And that's what you do. So that was just more of you're amazing.
Let me say, thank you. Let me say one thing. People that, I see their faces, and I ought to know their name, but their name is gone. Like I was telling you, I think a while ago, and they'll go stop me. Like a couple of nights ago, I was coming out of Walmart, and that lady said, "Oh, now, well, you told Cliff, or whatever her husband's name was, that he needed to do all these things so we could make it where we could sell it." And she said, "But we had never forgot you." But I was like, "Oh yeah, but I can't remember your name." And I said, well, where is your house? And they told me, and I said, oh, well, yeah, okay. And, sometimes you remember those things, but you can't remember.
Well, I don't blame you. I would love to look at the numbers. I don't know that we can because back in the day, it was all on paper. So we don't have records of what you've done probably prior to a certain year, but to know how many homes you've sold. So there's a reason why you can't remember them all because you have sold so many homes and you've helped so many people find their home or sell their home and help them through life situations. So it's so cool. I love getting to be a part of that and getting to see when people say, hey, and then having to prove myself because you are so wonderful. You have your clients and that you're, of course, not doing it anymore. And so then you say, hey, Haylee can help you. And I know that they don't trust me yet. And so, because they haven't worked with me and they're so used to you. And like I have my clients that I had on my own, but not the ones that had you. And so I have to prove myself. And it's okay because it's a big shoes to fill. So,
thank you.
Anyways.
Thank you.
So I was going to say, because back then marketing looked a lot different. So would you say, how did you run how did you get business back then? Was it just referrals and repeat clients just by taking care of people?
Basically.
Yeah. They just people word of mouth.
And we used to put it in the news press.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was a big help. And back then was before computers was a big thing, So we had to type everything, our contracts, we did all of that. It wasn't just fill in a blank on the computer.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It was, oh yeah.
So do you have like a sample that you use and you just have to type the whole contract?
Fill it out. Yep.
You filled it out?
Filled out the contract. Yep.
But it wasn't filling the blanks?
Basically filling in blanks. Yep. Yep.
Wow.
So it was took more time.
Yeah.
You just didn't come in and say, okay,
click.
10 minutes, I'll have this out. Nah.
Yeah.
On me.
Yeah. That still doesn't take me 10 minutes because I check and then recheck and then recheck.
Yeah.
I want to make sure I don't miss anything.
Yeah.
But, okay, so there used to be a Level Land Board of Realtors, and you served on that. What was your position in Level Land Board of Realtors?
Well, I believe that I was president of the board for I think it was 3 years. They just kept saying, well, no, you know what you're doing. We just want you to do it.
And you said, I don't want to.
Finally, I said, It's time for somebody else to do it. I love being there.
You said, I did my time.
Yeah, I love being there. And you learn you don't want to be not taking enough notes about what you do because you never, ever want a lawsuit. And some people try to go back and go, well, you said, and so you got to be very careful.
Well, to explain to y'all what Level Land Board of Realtors is, so we are a part now of Lubbock Board of Realtors, which basically that's how we get what's called our MLS, and that's where we put your homes up for sale where everyone can see it, all the agents. From there, it goes to Zillow, Realtor.com, all of the home selling websites. And our Lubbock Board of Realtors, they also give us our key boxes to where they're a huge part of what we do. And to be a member of the Board of Realtors is just a lot more accountability as a realtor. So that you don't have to be a part of a Board of Realtors to be a realtor, but there's a lot more accountability. And so you really want your agent to be a part of a Board of Realtors because there's just specific rules that we have to follow. And so back then, Lubbock had their own Board of Realtors and Leveland had their Board of Realtors, which was made up of a few agents in Leveland that are still, agents here and brokerages here. And Mimi was one of them, representing Jackson Real Estate as the president or whatever. And so I just wanted to explain what that was. And then I guess there probably wasn't enough volunteers and y'all went to Lubbock Border Realtors?
As best I remember, that's exactly what we did
Uh-huh.
because it was a long time before we had our own here in Levelland.
Yeah. So,
Owned a
as
board.
a president, do you remember what you had to do? Like, what was your job description?
Well, that is hard for me to say. Just trying to keep everything going like it's supposed to be, and it being advertised properly as a board of realtors.
Would other agents call you with complaints or things like that? Did you ever
Sometimes
handle that?
Sometimes somebody would call
Yeah,
them,
and then I guess you
complain,
handled like the
yeah.
membership and all that of Levelland Border Realtors, and y'all would do meetings and things like that too.
Yeah.
And so it was time consuming.
And most of it, when we had our meetings, a lot of it was out at the college, South Plains College. We had our meal out there, and had some of our business meetings there.
Yeah. Wow. So whenever you went to Lubbock Board of Realtors, did that make y'all nervous that now people in Lubbock could come sell in Levelland without
Probably
being
a
apart?
little bit, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I just wondered if that was kind of like, oh, we don't really want a bunch of people coming in, and these are our clients and these are our people. But really, the clients that want to use you will use you anyway. So, and you obviously kept your clients. So, you got some awards as a realtor.
Yeah, I did.
And I wish I have them in my office because I wanted to keep them because they're special to me. So I just have them in my office. But I wish I would have brought them so I could have showed.
I thought about it last night. And
Did you really?
I
You
really
should have
did.
called
And I
me.
thought, Haley's going to say, Mimi, where are some of those awards that you got? And I'm going to say, remember, Haley,
I gave them to you?
I was thinking about discarding them, and you was like,
No,
I want them. And so you took them with you.
Yeah, they're plaques. Do you remember what they were for? I'm so mad that I didn't bring them.
Well, I don't like to think that people to think, oh, she did not. But
yes, I'm asking you about them.
Yeah, I got a lot of awards saying for the job I did as a realtor. And we had awards for the outstanding realtor for the year. And I remember having like 3, I think, already whenever. And I said, they was going to appoint me again. I said, no, not again. I appreciate it, but give it to somebody else too. So,
Yeah, let somebody else
and
do
so
it.
now then, I don't have a copy of those because, like I think it does.
I have them.
Yeah, you have them, and I've thought about that last night. I thought, I don't think I kept any of them.
No, you were going to throw them away, and I
yeah,
said, no,
no.
those are important to me. I don't know. I just wanted to be able to look at them and
Yeah, she did.
think. I just,
Yeah.
So. Okay, so you kind of touched on this a while ago, but is there a house that you remember that you sold that just stands out, like a transaction, whether it be a family or something that you helped that meant a lot to you, or the situation was just tough and you were able to get them in a home, or something that came up and it's memorable to you?
Well, I know there were some, but it's been
too long,
and I can't remember. I do remember one that was a 2-story brick. And that house is still here in Levelland, and they made changes to that home, and I thought it was already a great house, and they added on to it, and I was like, really? You're adding on? This house is huge. But they did, and they did a fantastic job of that. And like I said, it's still here in Levelland.
Okay, so we kind of touched on this too earlier, but when you started real estate, everything was in paper. So I remember you taking that big old hunkin' binder. It was like 3-inch binder. Everywhere we went, we would go to the lake, and you'd have your binder with you and your cell phone. Never went without it. And you had every single listing in that binder, which it amazes me because every day did you just have to get up and print out every listing?
If there, yeah.
If there was new ones,
If there
like
was new ones, I just
you look
have
to
to
see if
look
there's
over
new
it.
listings, and then you printed them out and you stuck them in your binder.
Yeah.
So then when people would call you, they'd say, "Hey,
Mm.
is there a house on the market that's a 3-bed, 2-bath, whatever?" And you would have to look through your binder and say, "Yeah, here's one." That's so bizarre to me,
And they,
but
and they
it's
would say,
crazy.
well, can you just describe it to us? Because we really don't have time to go look. We just,
And they couldn't see it online.
no, they couldn't see it online. They didn't have nothing to see. So, would you just kind of describe what it is? How's the kitchen? You know, of course, that's women. How's the kitchen? And the men wanted to know if it had a tool shed or something.
That's what they do. The first thing they go to is the garage or the shop.
That's it. That's exactly right. And then they go, I don't care what the rest of it looks like. I like this shop. Yeah, okay. Whatever.
So then when you were out of town, because now, like, I take my computer to the lake when we go on a weekend, because as realtors, you don't get time off. And so even on vacation, I have my computer with me. If somebody wants to make an offer, I can write up the contract and send it, and everything's good. But when you were out of town, what'd you do if you had to write up a contract? Did you call one of the agents here and ask them to do it? And
most of the time,
yeah,
if we had especially another agent in the office with us, because we didn't want the other agency knowing exactly who we was working with, because some of them were not very loyal to anybody except themselves, and they would take it over because you were gone, and so you know, instead of that other agent saying, "But I'm taking call for Gwen, and she will get back with you."
I feel like we're pretty fortunate in Loveland now. Most people, I feel like most of the agents here, I had a realtor call me the other day. She was on a cruise. It's been several months actually. And she was like, "Can you go show this house for me?" And so I did. And she's not even a part of our brokerage.
Right.
And so I showed it for her and said, you know, if you have any questions, you can ask me and I'll get it back to her. And she felt comfortable asking me because she knew I wasn't going to
You were honest.
do anything about that. And I could ask her the same. And there's several that I feel like here I could do that with. So we're pretty fortunate in that way. We use digital signing now, kind of piggybacking off of that. Just go ahead and do your eye roll.
Yeah, okay.
It really picked up in the last how many years that you did it? Probably 5 years that you were in selling real estate. The digital signing, like DocuSign or Dotloop or whatever, that picked up at the last 5 years. And you were like, I want to do it in person. And you had some clients. I've had a couple, but you've had some clients that were like, no, I want to sign in person. And we would, still today, if somebody wanted to sign in person, I'd be happy to. But most of the time, their lives are too busy and they're getting their kids from practice and everything. They don't have time to come to the office, and I'll explain it to them over the phone, which I do. I think that takes out a lot of the relationship, and you don't get to
really know them.
Yeah, I feel like I do because I spend a lot of time getting to know them on the phone and in the houses that I'm showing, but it does take out a little part of that. So tell me your feelings on the digital signing.
Well, that works for people of the age. And you probably remember me calling you to say, Haylee, I'd be gone. Can you get this DocuSign for me? Yeah.
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 And now you can even do it so much as on your phone.
Yeah.
Just click, send it off to sign. So, but I think a lot of some of the older ways they're not bad at all. I mean, there's good things about them, but a lot of people don't have time anymore. We filled our lives with so many things that. Okay, here's a good one. How did you feel when Zillow and Realtor came out, Realtor.com? Because then that opened up online for all of the other
agents.
Well, agents
Companies.
And buyers to see, and they don't really, did that worry y'all? Because I remember that thinking. Now it's just a part of it's kind of nice because some buyers can see it and say, hey, I really like this home and I want to see it, instead of having to call you and get you to describe it to them. But when that happened, was that kind of like how's this going to change our career?
Yeah, It was kind of that way, exactly, because we were used to, okay, I'll make an appointment and we'll go look. And then if they wanted to do something, we had to come back and get a contract ready.
And now they have realtors advertising on Zillow. So if you click on Zillow and you say you want to see a house, you get stuck with whoever is advertising, paying money to Zillow. And, it could have been somebody that you knew and they don't understand that they're going to see a house with somebody else and they really wanted to use you. I've had that before where they're like, well, I didn't know and I just called somebody to show it to me. I really wanted to use you, but I didn't know how it worked. And so that kind of does change things. But the market just kind of, it all leveled out and we figured, y'all figured it out. That was before me. So.
And sometimes, you just had to call somebody, maybe at the other agency that has a listing on it and say, I'm in Timbuktu. I don't have anybody, but would you do me a favor and remember who I am? And if it sells, then I want that to be from me. And then they'd say, I'll be glad to go show for you. Just let me know when you're back.
Yeah.
And if I got to go show it twice to them, that's okay.
Yeah.
So, I'm sure there was some people that were not honest, that, that just waited up out of town, and then they'd call them and say, hey, I showed you this house, a different one, but I've got another one I think you might like better, and show it. And then you'd lose the client.
Yeah.
So,
which is hard because as a realtor, we work, but we don't get paid until we close on a house. And so it's a lot of times you work for free, but you do what you have to do, for your people, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I always tell people if you decide you don't want to buy a house, that's okay. I don't want you to just buy something and they'll say, I'm sorry, I'm taking you or asking you to show me all these houses. That is okay. You don't know what you want, and that's okay. And I'll show you as many houses as you need to see in order for you to find the one you love. Because I think nothing is worse than when they settle and then on closing day they're not, if they weren't happy.
Exactly.
You want them to be happy and excited. So, what would you say your secret to such a successful real estate career was?
I guess I didn't really consider hours. I mean, I took care of my family, and we went to church, and I'd say, yes, I will show you, but it'll be after I get out of church or whenever I get back from Lubbock. Will you be okay with that?
Yeah.
And they always are.
You made your family and God a priority.
Yes. That was my priority.
Yeah, I've always remembered that is you couldn't show on a Wednesday night. I guess church was at 7 on Wednesday nights. You couldn't show on a Wednesday night between 7 and 8. And then you could show before or after, but they'd have to know that you were in church and you didn't stray from that.
That's right.
I always admired that. I would also say your probably secret is just taking care of people the way that you did.
Yeah.
Taking care of your clients.
I really enjoyed doing that.
Yeah.
Taking care of them. It's sad. Well, I was sad with them, And again, I just said, you've got your house sold and you got your money in your hand and not
a minute before.
Not a minute before. And I had some people one time that, when I think I told you this, went out and bought a whole house full.
The furniture. Yeah.
Furniture.
Crazy. Yeah.
Lost their
house. Yeah.
Couldn't do it.
I think, everyone kind of has their way of how they sell real estate, but I do think that the emotional aspect I got from you, because when you said, when they're sad, I'm sad. There are times when I'm like, I've kind of touched on this before too, though, but people are going through divorces or people are, they have a hard situation with life. This isn't always I'm buying a house, I'm happy. I'm selling a house, I'm happy. Like we're dealing with real life situations, and we kind of joke that sometimes we're counselors too, And so when people are sad going through these things, it makes me really sad. I think the emotional part of who I am. I got a lot from you.
Yeah.
I want to say one more thing too. When I first started real estate, and just in the last 8 years of working with you, some of my favorite memories have been gonna cry. Coming here and eating breakfast and lunch, and sometimes you'd make me chicken fried steak.
Yeah.
I was like that, and sometimes it was a TV dinner, but I didn't care because I got to be here with you and Pop and bring my kids and just get to work alongside you while I was getting to just be with my Mimi, my best friend, and so that'll always be some of my favorite memories.
Mine too.
And then getting to go on calls together and just talk about real estate together, and we talked all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd leave, and 5 seconds later, you'd call me and you'd say, "Well, I'll probably, when you were telling me about, I'll probably call you in just a minute or two, asking you something or whatever." And so, but it was just, and my kids got to make donuts with you, and then we'd go in the
Yeah.
office and work. But you're well known in Levelland for being such a great realtor in person, and I'm thankful I get to call you my Mimi. You've taught me so much how to be a wife and a mom and a friend and a realtor, and I'm just thank you for being my best friend. I love you more than you know.
Too.
So
And
thankful I got to learn from you.
And Raymond and your papa, he liked doing real estate, but he didn't really love going and showing houses. He'd go all the time and show those farms and stuff. But if we needed him,
Oh yeah,
it didn't matter if he knew the house or not. He'd go show for us,
he did.
and still will.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's always helping me with sign. You want me to put your sign out and still and making open house signs for me, and I couldn't do it without either of you.
Yeah.
So I hope y'all know that this is largely because of y'all, and so I'm thankful to get to carry on the legacy of Jackson Real Estate, and that's why I didn't want to change the name because it's super special to me.
Well,
So
thank you.
because y'all are special to me.
And you're special to us, kids and all. So
Thank you, Mimi, for being on. I'm just so glad that everyone else gets to kind of hear how great you are, how great I think you are. They get to see a part of that, and so thank you for doing this with me. I love you.
and love you, and thank you for being the person and the Christian
Thank
that you are, and
I
what
try.
you're doing with your children and your whole family, your husband, and y'all are just awesome.
Well, thank you. I love you.
Love you too.